Welcome into the garage area where we just finished watching the Las Vegas race that Joey Logano ended up winning. After being out of the playoff last week unofficially before the Bowman post-race inspection fail, he was back instated in the playoffs and ends up winning here at Las Vegas to now punch his ticket to the championship four. So he goes from being out of the playoffs to into the championship race. Kind of a wild sequence of events. Pretty straightforward race up until the end when Suarez and Logano tried to stay out to make it on fuel, and the gamble that Paul Wolff and Joey Logano took paid off, and it is a Coca-Cola racing driver in victory lane. So we had some struggles for some other guys though. You and I really thought that Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin were going to be fast, and they had nothing but issues all day. Kyle Larson at one point was 2 laps down. And Tyler Reddick took a little tumble down the front straightaway. Ryan Blaney had issues. Christopher Bell pretty much dominated the race and didn't get the win. Chase Elliott was involved in a wreck too. That pretty much covers most of them, I think. I don't know who we're missing. Who are
I don't know.
Do you have the standings pulled up for after Vegas, what they look like right now?
Yeah. Obviously, Joey Logano's advanced. Bell's plus 42, Larson's plus 35, Byron's plus 27, and Hamlin, of course, would be minus 27, Reddick minus 30, Blaney minus 47, Elliott minus 53.
Wow, I didn't realize that Elliott was at the bottom of the list there.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. He finished 33rd today, is that right?
33rd or 32nd, somewhere.
Yeah, I knew it was pretty far down.
33rd, yeah.
Where did Blaney end up?
32nd.
Oh, okay, so they were right together with each other. And Hamlin and Larson ended up where?
Hamlin ended up with an 8th place finish. He was one of those that stayed out and saved fuel. And Larson finished 11th.
Yeah, okay. What did you think about the race before that final pit stop and that just sequence of events there of guys trying to stay out and make it? Before that, how did you think that the race was unfolding?
As far as it was a good race or not,
it being a good race and just your opinion on how it was going. Like, did it go the way that you expected it to? Was there anything different about the way the race went that you thought?
I didn't realize I didn't really expect the fuel strategy to play out the way it did. That's about the only real surprise at how Logano and others saved fuel when, Bell pitted and tried to run him down.
Yeah.
Other than that, nothing really played out or surprised me.
It was pretty much Christopher Bell's race to lose. And then just the other guys that had trouble just seemed to be all playoff guys, minus Austin Dillon. He took a pretty hard hit off the nose of Daniel Hemrick. Not really sure. We didn't have a great angle of that situation, as you probably wouldn't have that far back in the field. Very good camera angles on drivers that run back there.
Well, they had the in-car of Hemrick, and it almost just looked like he drove right into the back of Dillon. Just didn't slow up in time. So, but it almost looked like it wrecked him on purpose, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, Hemrick's team said that Dillon threw a late block, and that's why I didn't know if that was really the case or not.
It didn't look like a block to me. It just looked like Hemrick drove right into the back of him. So,
did they show the in-car on TV? Because I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They showed the in-car of Dillon too, and it was a pretty wicked hit.
Yeah, I would think so. Outside of those incidents, what happened with the 3-wide deal, Truex and Elliott and those guys when they all wrecked? Walk me through that.
It looked like Martin Truex Jr. and Chase were side by side coming off of 4, and Reddick decided he was going to try to make the pass on the outside, and at the same time it looked like Truex, his car got tight and pushed up into Elliott, and Reddick was there on the outside, and all three of them just collided right there and took out a few cars.
Just the trouble always seems to find the playoff guys.
Yeah. The day Elliott has a fast car.
Yeah. Where were they running when that took place? Because like you said, Elliott was coming through the field pretty well.
Yeah, he was. No, he restarted second on that restart. He was like fourth or fifth, and kind of that way things jumbled up, and he lost a little momentum because they were side by side and stuff. So it was top five, no less than sixth place, I don't think. So that was
Yeah.
where that happened.
And obviously we saw um, Tyler Reddick slide down the front straightaway, sideways, get through the grass, and when he hit that quarter mile oval in the front stretch there, the car actually lifted off the ground, rolled over one time, and set back on all four wheels, and that effectively ended his day. But just another race where you have another car get upside down, and we don't really have any reason for it. I saw a bunch of clips on Twitter of different cars, and specifically Paul Menard sliding off of turn four in the older generation race car, going down through the grass, and he hopped over the quarter mile. All four wheels came off the ground, and he hopped over it, landed on his wheels, and drove away from the scene. Um, but it was
Well,
the
Reddick drove away too, but
that's true. But obviously, like Menard had no damage to the car. I mean, I'm sure there was something that had
yeah,
gone wrong there, but not like no big deal. He certainly didn't get caught in the quarter mile and start to flip. Like he just skipped right over it. Much higher ground clearance on those cars back then than we got now, and plus no underbody pan to try to help turn it over as well.
yeah. I don't know if it was more. I feel more it was like a mechanical type flip than aero. I mean, there was some aero involved, but I just feel like some of those flips or whatever are just going to be unavoidable, in my opinion. But um,
What you think, like the actual car dug in?
I, I think I think so. I mean, obviously, when he hit the quarter mile, it twisted at an angle. When he landed, I think it dug in and helped flip it. I only saw the brief replays from the race. I mean, I could probably go back and relook at it. Maybe it changed my opinion, but my initial thoughts is what that was. But
Yeah,
I mean, I could be wrong. But
yeah. No, I'm not saying you are or aren't. It just regardless, everybody's going to look at the bigger picture and say that these cars keep flipping over,
yeah,
whether what you said is true or not.
it made me feel. Remember back to Chris Buescher's flip at Charlotte at 600, where he had a mechanical gripped into the ground and flipped the car. I mean, that's just one of the avoidable ones. That was what I thought of when I saw it. But I mean,
Yeah,
they could always go back and make different arguments, but that's what I saw.
yeah. I just think that that's something you're going to see be a storyline this week with just all the talk that there's been this year about that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, certainly heard Tyler Reddick say, where'd he end up finishing?
Um, 35th.
Yeah. So a lot of good playoff cars right there at the back of the field.
Three playoff drivers, Blaney, Elliott, and Reddick, finished 32nd or worse.
Yeah, that's a rough day for those guys.
Yeah.
Um, when I don't know about you, but like I felt like this was going to be. I didn't think anybody was touching Christopher Bell. Like when they started that final round of pit stops, it was this is just going to be does he gain or lose into the second place driver coming on and off pit road. But like either way, if this race goes green, this is Christopher Bell, and the race did go green, but it was fuel strategy that ended up getting Suarez and Logano out there. And when they said they told Logano we're going to pit in one more lap, and then they said go 20 as hard as you can, I sat right up and I was like, they're going to try to make it to the end of this thing. And the fact that Suarez was out in front of them, I thought, man, if anybody can stretch his fuel, it's going to be Joey. I mean, we've seen him do it a couple times already. And Suarez was out there, and he would catch him a little bit, but not much. And then they finally told him to go after him, and that gap started to shrink a lot. And I was like, wow, we're might actually catch him here. And when he ended up getting by him, which big thanks to Ryan Blaney for the help there. I mean, he was a big time assistant in that situation, and that's something we can talk about in a minute too. Um, and he ends up getting a lead, and it's like, boy, Bell's going to get to those guys, but I don't think he's going to be able to get there to pass them. And then you just see Joey Logano, a car that was, as we said, out of the playoffs last week to being in the championship four. I know that you don't like Joey Logano, but all of that aside, first let's talk about the Ryan Blaney deal with him helping him. People are going to call that race manipulation. And where do you stand on that as an
I'm
fan?
I didn't see nothing wrong with it. I see teammates do that all the time. I mean, you look back to Daytona, Talladega, tandem drafting days. I mean, teammates are going to help teammates no matter what. I mean, these guys, NASCAR's a business. I mean, you got to make business decisions. You always see, let's say, teammates. I look back at Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson there at Bristol when Chase Elliott was mad at Harvick, and he held up Harvick for Larson to pass him. So I see those instances all the time. A lap guy going a lap down, holding up the leader to help a teammate catch the leader.
Yeah.
I remember Michigan race or something. It was faster to like push a teammate down the straightaway and stuff. It was like almost a tandem draft at Michigan. They'd separate in the corners and push each other down to the front or back straightaway. So I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. I agree that it's been going on a long time. It's been a precedent that's happened throughout the sport, but I can't say that I'm a big fan of it. That Elliott and Harvick contacted Bristol, and then Elliott holding up Harvick so that Larson could pass him. Didn't like to see that. I remember, maybe you remember this too. I'm pretty sure it was Chase Elliott that was leading at Homestead, and he and Logano had some kind of incident, and Logano pulled up in front of him and it cost him the lead of the race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe Hamlin won that race. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like that.
It wasn't a teammate thing, but he held up Elliott.
But regardless, cars that are not on the lead lap, manipulating cars that are on the lead lap, I don't like it. And I'm not saying that it should be outlawed. I'm just saying that I don't like
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah.
if you're at Atlanta, Talladega, Daytona, or something like that, like, hey, that's part of the drafting is what you're there to do. Like, that's part of the way you race there. But at a place like this, like, I'm fine with them helping them, but I guess I'd have less of an issue with the 12 helping the 22 than if the 20 was catching the 22 and the 12 was running interference. Like, I wouldn't want to see Blaney blocking the 20 just because that's his teammate leading. Like, just get out of the way. You're a lap car. Let him go race it out. And that never really came into play, but I don't know. I don't really have a big issue with him pushing Logano, but at the same point, I would hate to see a lap car manipulating the front cars in a way where he's holding people up.
Yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
So now on a separate issue here, what do you think about Joey Logano being in the championship four? Just with his everything that happened in the last week.
I'm still kind of in shock. I don't know how. It's I've been for weeks since the playoff started. It's an even year. He's going to make the Final Four, and then miraculously, maybe he had 17 pounds of extra fuel in his car or something. I don't know. It's just it's I don't know what to think. It's just everybody's saying it's even year, and what are the chances that just DQ puts him in, and then boom, he's into the Final Four instantly. So, I mean, I don't really see Logano as a deserving championship driver this year. That goes back to the fault of the format, but in one way, it is really intriguing how it worked out.
Yeah. Couch Racer tweeted the question. I don't remember what they said specifically, but basically, how do you feel about Logano being in the championship? Or how do you feel about this playoff format was the question. And I replied to him and said, I am a Joey Logano fan, and this is a joke. Like, really probably shouldn't have been in the playoffs to start with. And, I mean, he got better at the end of the year, but as far as just regular points went and how he ran, probably shouldn't even been a playoff driver in the first place. And then,
I see him more deserving than other drivers, but yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, more than Harrison Burton, more than Austin Cindric, more than some of these other guys. But I still don't think he was fast. Like, I think Bubba Wallace should have been in over him. I don't know. I don't know. That's how I felt about it, just for how that they ran most of the year. But anyways, and then to really put together some decent races in the playoffs and gain some stage points and whatnot, and just put together the best race that you could possibly put together at the Roval, and lose the points that you did to Tyler Reddick just because Reddick was faster going through the field. I was like, hey, that was a great performance by the 22 team. Unfortunate they're out, but that's just the way that it is. And then they get put back in because of the DNQ, or the disqualification. That just is that's a wild scenario on top of that. But now you have to say, well, okay, there's kind of an asterisk by Logano because he didn't actually advance on points to get in the next round. It's because Bowman got disqualified that he's in this next round. And then he goes out and wins the race and jumps from not really even eighth in points to now he's the points leader. I don't know. It really is a joke. Like, this should be a Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson battle.
Yeah.
And throw Byron in there too. I mean, he's run well and he's deserved to be up there. They fell off a little bit in the summer, but he's come back to run well. Ran well today. Ran second a lot of the race. I don't know where he ended up finishing. He had to have been in the top 5 somewhere.
Yeah, 4th.
Yeah, so a great day for him. And those guys are the ones that really deserve to fight it out for the championship. Those 4 drivers. And now you've got Joey Logano in there, which, hey, I'm thrilled. But I don't know. It's not a Matt Kenseth championship. It's not a Tony Stewart championship. It's not any of those that we watched guys win for so many years. It's just hey, if, you do well this Sunday, we got a little prize for you. Like that kind of deal. And I don't know. I just hate that that's the way the format works. Even give me the original chase format over this 10 drivers, 10 races, reset them after Richmond and go on to New Hampshire and start over again. Like I like that idea over what we got now. This has just kind of gotten a little too ridiculous for me. Lots of drama, but even still, who cares? Everybody's watching football today. Because, I mean, nobody was going to want to watch Christopher Bell run 500 laps out front, and then the last 20, the guy stays out on fuel strategy to win. Like, that's exciting to people that are watching this whole battle, but it just in a race in itself, you didn't give them anything to care about. I don't know. That's kind of my little rant on this situation. What are your thoughts on the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, we've been complaining about this playoff format for years, I think. So, I just, I would be interested to see how a full year championship would work with the stages, because we had the regular season championship came down to that race between Larson and Reddick. Albeit Larson missed a race, and he probably would have had it locked up more if he'd raced the 600 that time. But it'd be interesting to see how strategy work. Gaining points through stages throughout races and trying to win races and stuff like that. I'd be interested to see. But I believe the 10 race championship is far better determinant of a champion than what we have now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean that. Like, everybody was upset with the Matt Kenseth walking away with the championship early, and I think it was 2006 maybe. Kevin Harvick in the Xfinity Series just dominated a bunch of races and won that championship plenty early too. And yeah, that championship battle is not compelling to watch at all, and I get that, but those guys deserved that championship that year. And can you really say that some of these other guys, can you really say that Ryan Blaney deserved to be the champion of the 2023 Cup Series season?
Yeah.
He won it based on what we have for a format, but was he the best driver that year? No. And you're seeing it with the World Series matchup here shortly. The Yankees, really good baseball team. Don't like them. Really good baseball team. I'm sorry, that's probably a sore subject for you this morning, for today. But then you got either the Mets or the Dodgers. Dodgers are probably going to win that game. I think is happening tonight. And you're going to have the Yankees and the Dodgers, the 2 best teams in baseball, going at it in the World Series. Wish there was a way that they could both lose. But that's just not how that works. And, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to see the best teams win.
Yeah, I mean, what year? I don't remember what year it was that Harvick won the championship, and Ryan Newman finished second behind him. And Newman hadn't won a race all year.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
He made the Final Four by punting Larson there the final lap at Phoenix to gain the point over Jeff Gordon, who had arguably one of his better years. I don't know how you say this determines a real champion.
Yeah, it's hard. And you and I are going to go on about this all night if we could. I mean, we could go off about the race cars and the format. it just every passing Sunday, it's just like what we had was great, and what we have now is so not great. It makes you wonder, how did we even get to this point? And just is so frustrating that I don't know. Like, I'm gonna just leave this conversation there because it's gonna annoy me so bad. Um, someday when I've got, all caught up on all my responsibilities of life, so probably when I retire, I'm gonna go back and watch some of the late '90s, early 2000s races in their entirety just to find out if I'm like just an idiot and can't, looking at everything through my nostalgic rose-colored glasses, or if those races really were that much better. And I just want to kind of put a fair, objective perspective to it and see if that's actually true or not.
I just feel like the older races, I remember feeling these cars. I mean, this is more back to the way the cars are, but just watching cars dance around the track and sideways and bounce and bump. And I feel like these things are just planted to the ground, like single file line. But that's not more of the championship battle that we're talking about, but it's just
Right.
the racing that we have now. But yeah.
But I mean, those two things go hand in hand. I mean, the racing was great back then. Even if you put this stupid format in the racing that we had back then, we'd be complaining about the format. But now we're complaining about the format and the racing and the cars themselves. So it's just everything that NASCAR fans don't want, we have right now.
Yeah.
Shifting gears from that, did you find the Xfinity race to be more compelling than the Cup race this weekend?
Oh, most definitely.
See, I felt the same way, and I didn't see the entirety of the Xfinity race, but I saw quite a bit of it, and I'm just sitting there watching it like, am I gonna think when I watch the Cup race tomorrow that the racing was this good? And Las Vegas, objectively, compared to the races that we've seen so far this season on the Cup side, wasn't bad at all. I mean, it was probably one of the better Cup races we've seen this year, in my opinion, even though the Christopher Bell was out front for most of it. But the Xfinity racing was still so much better than the Cup racing was. And I just, watching those cars, just really anything that you need to know is what you saw when Ryan Sieg went to pass AJ Allmendinger and just got loose up off the bottom and then started to run him back down again before Sammy Smith decided to just throw her in park. That was just
Yeah.
it was a great battle for the lead. It was more compelling to me than Bell trying to run down Logano. It was a great battle, and I wish that we could see more of that every week in any series, but certainly in the Cup Series. You're not going to see that, because if those guys are running that hard side by side, third place cars are going to catch them and pass them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Tell me what you thought of the Xfinity race.
Yeah, I thought it was a great race. At one point I thought Allgaier was going to run away with it. He dominated the second stage on older tires, but yeah, just AJ, Justin Allgaier, Ryan Sieg, they battled there at the end, 3 cars and stuff, and just the way they can get up to other cars that the Cup cars can't do, the way they handle in the corners, they just look like they're so more on edge, I guess you would say. It just looks so much more fun to drive the Xfinity series and fun to watch. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what more to say about that. But
So, obviously, like we said, better race in the Xfinity Series. Heartbreaking for Ryan Sieg to come up short just again. There's some controversy about the 8 car on the racetrack with the caution. I don't know. Nothing seemed out of line to me. I don't know what caused him to slow down and stop in the first place, but I mean, you see all the time that cars stall and then take a while to get fired back up again. So I didn't think there was anything malicious going on there.
I don't think so. I thought they had fuel problems or something, because I remember one time they pitted, they ran out of fuel, and they were having trouble refiring it or something because they were squeezing gas down into the carburetor.
Mm.
And I thought it was, he said it just shut off. So I know Allgaier was having alternator issues too. So I don't know if there's something at JRM, because I feel like another car, JRM car, talked about alternator issues. So I don't know if it's just a mixture, a combo of something JRM had that weekend, or what the deal was. Allgaier, I think they said, got better after they got some of the debris off the grill. So Like, it could have been some overheating issues. I don't know if it's something their setup was just not right for the temperatures or what the deal was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see anything there that made me concerned that the 8 was trying to manipulate the race or anything like that. But yeah, great battle. What do you think as far as the comparison between AJ Allmendinger and Joey Logano? AJ gets his first win of the season. He's been in the playoffs all the way up to this point, and now AJ is going to compete for a championship. Logano won his third race of the year. I think third. Pretty
I know
sure.
if you count the All-Star race, it's at least 3, so I don't know.
Well, it's for sure his third because he won at Nashville, Atlanta, and now Las
Oh,
Vegas.
that's right. Yeah, Atlanta. That was the one I was forgetting, yeah.
And he should have won at Richmond if you want to go down that road. But
yeah. Yeah, I was about to make the point that it's just his first win of the year and puts him in the championship. Now, if you told me he was going to run for the championship in the beginning of the year, I would have agreed with that, because the previous full-time season he dominated, and but this year, Call the Gazoo's races for, right? Yeah. And they've struggled, with the exception of SVG at the road courses.
right.
Allmendinger ran well at the road courses too, but when you got SVG as a teammate there, it's kind of tough. But
Right.
It's, yeah, I didn't have him as one of my 4 best drivers in the Xfinity series.
But I don't know. I feel like he's, compared to Logano, I feel like he's, even though he's only getting the 1 win, I feel like he's very deserving of being in that position.
If you compare to Logano, yeah, I would say so. I mean, he had top 10s all year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logano was out to lunch at races, and AJ seemed like he was at least competitive in the Xfinity series all year, even though he wasn't competing for wins necessarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know what else I have about this whole weekend. I mean, it's a surprising win, shocking win, monumental win for NASCAR in their playoff situation for Logano to be in there. It's going to be interesting. I mean, Bell better get in there, and Larson better be in there. And the 4th spot is kind of up for grabs because they all keep trying to throw it away between Hamlin and Reddick and Elliott and Blaney and whoever else is left. Byron is.
I feel like anybody below the bubble now is almost nearly a must-win. I mean, 27 points is a lot to gain against a competitor. I mean, Tyler Reddick's going to be strong at Homestead, and Homestead, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's how I see it. Anyone below the cut line to me is a must-win. So,
yeah, I agree with that for the most part, I'd say. Who do you think below the cut line has the best opportunity to win coming up here at Homestead?
Me is Tyler Reddick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, he definitely runs well there. I mean, you have to run the high line. He's really good at that. I expect him and Larson to be really fast. It made me laugh because earlier in the day when we were texting back and forth, you said that Reddick was almost your pick for this week and you picked Hamlin instead. My second pick was going to be Christopher Bell. I thought about him later on in the week, and I was like, you know what? This seems like a day that Larson's just going to dominate. And the exact opposite happened, where Bell dominated, and Larson ended up, like I said, 2 laps down at one point. We came back to get a 12th, 11th place finish somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But anything else you had from Las Vegas?
I don't have nothing else now.
Anything that you wanted to talk about this week as far as news? The only thing that I really had was that Ty Gibbs now owns his own race car.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't think we were ever in doubt.
You probably saw that coming. I imagine he'll be part of the whole ownership deal before the end of it. So I don't think that should be anything too surprising. But
I agree. But yeah, I didn't really know of anything else that happened this week.
Yeah. There's always bits and pieces of the lawsuit coming out here and there and whatnot, and they're not running all their charters next year. NASCAR's planning on having 32 charters out there, so instead of the 36, I believe it's 36. But
yeah, that's right. whatever, however they want to do that.
Yeah. But that's all I got.
I feel like I hear some rumors on Twitter that they haven't, I don't know what they are, just people are saying that the silly season is still going on. So I don't know what that means as far as drivers going where or whatever, but just heard some rumors that there could be some more movement there, and I don't know what that is, but
You did send me a text about Ryan Preece being rumored to go to 2311.
no, not 2311, RFK.
Or RFK, that's right.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that
heard.
surprised me because I didn't hear about any of them getting another charter. So,
Yeah, they the rumor that I heard this week was that Priest was going to RFK for a third car, and I heard Keselowski being asked about a third car over RFK, and he kind of danced around the answer a little bit. So I don't know if that's true or not. But
yeah, I mean the Rick Ware with LaJoy is still up in the air because originally that was going to be like a Haley plan with RFK with their alliance and stuff. So I wonder if there's something going on there too, or
yeah, that could be.
what that deal is. So I did see LaJoy got, I believe, a top 15 out of it today. So
Wow, how that all works.
it's probably one of the fuel issues or saving fuel things. But
Probably, yeah.
Jimmy Johnson didn't wreck today, so
That's impressive.
I want to say that's the first time I'd seen him not wreck since he's been in his next gen cars. So
Yeah, I think it legitimately is.
yeah, so,
But
that's all I got.
yeah, that's all I got too. Really appreciate everybody for tuning into the garage area this week and checking us out on social media on TikTok. That's where we seem to get most of our response is on TikTok. And really appreciate those guys that watch our videos over there. And we are going to be back with you after Homestead, probably looking a lot like this again, and see what transpires after Homestead. Probably somebody outside of the playoffs will win, and they'll be in the championship for too. We'll see see how that goes, but
Jeff Gordon will win that.
yeah, they put him in the final four. All right, so we thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next week.